Right, hello everybody. Just gonna go into this video head first because I've never done one of these before, but I thought I'd try one out. Some of these FM experiments that I've been seeing. This one is going to be with Rumoured Wolves signings with Bruno Lage's 4-4-2, and we're just going to see how Wolves perform in a couple of seasons with some of the talent that we've been linked with recently, as well as in the tactical formation that we could set up. So if we go into the transfer history here, you'll see that I brought in Gerson Mosquera, as well as the Polish goalkeeper that we've been linked with that I'm not even going to try and pronounce. Ryan Aït-Nouri, Trincao, Vitinha's been made permanent. Caio Jorge has been brought in. I could have brought in Goncalo Ramos, I think is his name, but decided against this wonder kid instead. James Tarkowski, recently linked with today. Ruben Semedo, João Palhinha, priority signing, and then Samu Costa as well has also come in. Leaving, Rui Patricio to Roma, obviously. Conor Cody to Everton, no, he's been linked there. Ruben Neves to Arsenal, obviously heavily linked. Adama recently linked to Barcelona. João's gone back to Porto, and Roman Saiz to Al Hilal. So let's look at the tactics. As you can see, I've set us up in sort of this 4-4-2 pushed-on wingers, sort of the system that Bruno Lage is going to probably play, with this inside forward role on one of the wingers. Trincao is that man, but could also be Neto throughout the season if they switch it. Vitinha and Palhinha are the two midfielders. Jimenez and Caio Jorge up front. Could have gone with Fabio Silva, but I went with Caio Jorge instead because I think his potential ability in FM is ridiculous. I know Fabio's is as well, but I think Caio gets to that top level a little bit quicker. Bolly and Tarkowski are the centre-backs. Obviously, Cody's been moved on, so Tarkowski takes that role. Semedo, Aït-Nouri, and then the Polish goalkeeper, obviously, which Dragowski? Not sure. The tactics, relatively simple. Slight short passing, high tempo play, floated crosses, pretty simple FM stuff, really, if you're interested in that. But let's jump into the end of this season and see how Wolves can perform in this Premier League season. Right, so here we are at the end of the season in late May. As you can see, we had a pretty stop-start friendlies. Good start to the season. Couple of Carabao Cup wins, but then eventually going out to Manchester United. Pretty poor October. November, December. Nice run of form here in February, beating Manchester United and Liverpool, goals from Pedro Neto and Caio Jorge there, and Pedro Neto and Nelson Semedo against Liverpool. Also beat Spurs as well, 3-2. Another Caio Jorge goal, Raul Jimenez. Harry Kane and Gareth Bale getting on the score sheet, not enough though. Scoring a lot of goals though, it seems. 5-3 win to Burnley, 4-0 over West Ham. Lost 4-0 in the FA Cup quarter-final to a Mo Salah hat-trick. Losses to Chelsea and Man City, but a really good end to the season. Beating the Baggies obviously would be something to behold away. Arsenal 2 from Caio Jorge, and then finally a 3-3 draw on the last day to Crystal Palace. You might be able to see here, but in the English Premier League that means we finished 6th place. The draw on the final day didn't really do much in the end. We still would have finished, well, a place higher, but not UCL football like perhaps we would have wanted. But yeah, 6th place finished. I think that's fantastic. Really, interestingly enough here, the goal tally you can see here with the Bruno Lage 4-4-2, Caio Jorge scored 31 goals in 37 appearances. That's incredible. Raul Jimenez also has 23, so we had both the first and tied second for goals in the league with 2 players, and that's just 54 goals between 2 players in the Premier League. That's ridiculous, really, when you think about it. Expected goals, 20, quite some marginal distance there. 23 expected goals for Caio Jorge, also having the most shots and shots on target, obviously. Assists, Pedro Neto tops the chart. Caio Jorge also in this chart as well, 18 and 14 respectively. So very, very good from Wolves in terms of creating chances and attacking. In terms of defence, probably not the strong suit for Wolves. How do I go to the... I'm just having a completely brain-dead moment here. Obviously, yeah, most goals. We scored 83 goals in comparison to 89 from Manchester United, who won the league. So, obviously not bad to score more goals than Liverpool. 5 games without losing. Obviously, I didn't do any of the transfer spend, so just ignore any of this stuff. But a pretty good season from Wolves, I think you'd have to say. I think you'd probably take that in terms of in terms of everything, really. I mean, if you told me that Kyle George was going to score the most goals and 31 goals in one season, and Pedro Neto would have 18 assists, I mean, I'd snap your hand off, really. Interestingly enough, Daniel Podence and Morgan Gibbs-White off the bench have most distance covered at 90 minutes, which is quite interesting. Kyle George offside a lot, but in terms of everything in that respect, a pretty good season. Knocked out in the FA Cup by Liverpool. Not too much you can do about that sometimes, and obviously Manchester United in the Carabao Cup, but Europa League football next season, so I guess we'll see what next season brings for Wolves and Bruno Lage's 4-4-2. Will we push on, or will the Europa League football set us back? Right, so here we are at the end of Season 2, and you can see that we've dropped off a little in the Premier League. Fantastic start, really, with the friendlies. 15-0 and 10-0. Jesus, that's a lot of goals. Probably would have enjoyed that trip away. It looks like we went on a Singapore pre-season training camp, perhaps. Stop-start in August, but September brought some fantastic form, really. You can see in the Europa League we got wins over Sarajevo and I thought Barrow was in the Europa League for a second. I got that confused. Sevilla, a draw. Lucas Ocampos, absolute villain. That's a terrible rematch that I don't want to think about. 5-3 away to Southampton. Kyle George, 2 goals. Raul Jimenez, 3 goals, and 2 goals. Pretty incredible. Losing 6-0 away to Manchester United. That's a little embarrassing, but beating 4-2 Arsenal away. Results are very, very mixed. You either win 4-0 or lose 5-1 or 6-0. Or, as you can see here, we have lost 5-1 here to a Ferran Torres hat-trick in late December. In terms of the Europa League, though, it's going very well. 4-0 at home to Dinamo. Sarajevo, 6-0 at home. Beating Sevilla 4-2 away. Max Kilman getting on the score sheet there, actually. Not great form over the Christmas period, you'd have to say. Losing the semi-final first leg away to Man City 3-0. But then actually beating them at home 4-0. All 4 goals happening in the space of, well, 25 minutes there. So that's quite something to overturn. That would have been very much big scenes at the Molineux, but losing 6-1 obviously to Liverpool as well in that period is very, very inconsistent. 6-2 to Southampton. Oh yes, I need to talk about this. I'll say that in a second. Losing the Carabao Cup final to Arsenal 6-2, that's not a fantastic result. And then obviously going out to Red Bull Salzburg in the second knockout round of the Europa League. Obviously not a fantastic end to the season, either losing to West Brom and also losing to Burnley. So perhaps the Europa League football undone us a little bit there. In terms of the transfers that I brought in that were realistic, Billy Gilmour came on as a rumour today, so we brought him in for the next season. Lee Kang-in has been linked before. Being a South Korean, I think Jeff Shi would like to tap into that market. Alex Grimaldo has come in, with Ruben Vinagre going the other way to Benfica, as you can see down here. Rafa Mir, Patrick Achone all moved on as well. Leo Bonatini sent to Grasshoppers. And what I thought we could also do, whilst we obviously examine the fact that we've solidified our place in the Premier League, finished runner-up in the Carabao Cup, knocked out by Millwall in the FA Cup, not great, but I think we can consider this an okay season. Would like to push on a little bit more. Obviously, Leeds getting that spot and Bournemouth above us, which would be interesting indeed. But Kyle George again scoring 23 goals for the club, 9 assists for Raul Jimenez, who would probably say by this point is pushing on a little bit in terms of his prime. Let's look at the transfer history for the last couple of seasons. What I wanted to look at is how the players that we moved on have progressed. Also, as you see here, Ruben Neves, incredible player, really. 115 appearances for us, but 61 appearances for Arsenal. Just immense average ratings all around, really. Looks like an incredible baller, and those stats are pretty impressive, valued at 66 million now, 25 years old. 29 caps for Portugal. Obviously, Arsenal as a club haven't been too great recently, but they finished what is that now, 4th now in progressive season, so constant Champions League football again for Arsenal, and I think he's obviously featuring a lot in that side. So also we have Connor Cody, has moved on now to Leicester from Everton, made 26 appearances but in that first season, but 45 for Leicester over the last year. Looks really, really good. Looks like he's progressed a lot, valued at 18.25 million. Scored 3 goals, actually, somehow, so maybe he's sometimes playing as a defensive midfielder. Put in some really good... Oh, they're in the Championship. Leicester got relegated? I didn't even realise. Well, they got relegated last season, but they've come back straight up and winning the league, so... Oh wait, no way! Nuno's gone to Leicester City and re-signed Connor Cody and taken him back up through the Championship. That's incredible that Leicester got relegated, but what a story that is. Adama Traore at Barcelona, been moved on to Eintracht Frankfurt, never really could make it into the Barcelona team, 5 appearances before moving on to Eintracht Frankfurt, scoring 9 goals as a winger. Nothing to be inspired by there. João Moutinho, obviously playing now and then for Porto, but has been moved back to Porto B by now, so he's getting on a bit, probably due to retire pretty soon. I would probably say the same for Roman Saiss as well, but Rui Patricio looks to be doing well. 54 goals conceded in 64 games, not a terrible record at all, putting in some nice performances there for Roma, who it looks like they finished in 4th place in the league, so not bad from them at all. Roma as a club have Paulo Fonseca at manager still, so that's interesting. Clearly the signing of Rui Patricio kept him in the job. But as far as Wolves go, you know, this Bruno Lage 4-4-2 sort of formation tactic that I've just sort of pulled out of thin air, really, based on how I think Bruno Lage will set up. The rumoured signings, fantastic, really. João Palhinha has really progressed as a footballer. Looks absolutely incredible. 26 years of age. No caps for the Portuguese national team. Obviously being kept out of the side probably by Ruben Neves, who's also progressed. But as far as the replacements go, he's been absolutely fantastic, probably, for the club. Kyle George, incredible. 20 years old, valued at 60 million, stats improving every day. Scored 54 goals in 73 appearances for the club, so absolutely incredible player, clearly. Francisco Trincao, 67 appearances for the club, looks like a really decent player, has improved a little bit over time, not as much as probably he could have done in other saves, but still looks to be a very, very decent baller with a lot of potential ability still to climb. As far as other players go that have brought in, James Tarkowski looks to haven't really progressed at all. Really, obviously he's in his prime, so he's not going to improve too much. But you'd think perhaps he would be putting in some other decent performances across the board. 47 appearances for the club. In terms of everything else, Raul Jimenez also obviously an incredible player. Still at the age of 31 in this save. Pedro Neto, not kicked on as much as I've seen him do in other previous saves. 84 appearances, 16 goals. Probably expect him to do better than that in real life, frankly. But again, not a bad return at all. But in terms of the system and in terms of the results that we've seen, getting back into the Europa League, you know, scoring an incredible amount of goals over the 2 seasons, really, when you think about it. So if you look at goals here, Kyle George again has claimed the Golden Boot. Carlan Grant for West Brom has scored 21 goals. Wow, okay. Fabio Silva getting on the score sheet. Obviously he's made some appearances. 16 goals in 16 appearances starting. Obviously 12 off the bench as well, but pretty good return for him. Raul Jimenez dropped off a little bit from the previous seasons, but it's nice to see them all above Diogo Jota. No, I'm not salty. Fantastic, really, in terms of the excitement and goal scoring. Obviously, defensively a bit of a liability, but I would say a successful experiment with these new rumoured signings. Samu Costa not kicked on very much at all. And Gerson Mosquera I don't think is very rated in Football Manager as of yet. I'm sure Dave Azzopardi of Talking Wolves, the FM researcher, will be changing that. In terms of Billy Gilmore, exciting young prospect, nothing too crazy. Lee Kang-in looks a very sharp baller as well from South Korea. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in and watching to see if you were interested in this. I've never done anything like this before, so let me know if you enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. See you later.